Becs and Ted's Excellent Adventure. We're going to go through and run this race together. So shall we talk about race day and specifically one small modification that we've made to the start?
Welcome to Set the Pace, the official podcast of New York Roadrunners presented by Peloton. I'm your host, Becs Gentry, and my usual co-host, Rob Simmelke, is off this week. So, filling in for him, I am honored to be joined by New York Roadrunners Chief Event Production Officer and Race Director, Mr. Ted Metellus. Hello, Ted.
Becs, how are you? Listeners, how are you?
Good. It's so good to see you.
I know.
I feel
it's
like
been a
we
while.
go through seasons of like seeing each other all the time, and then it gets cold and I disappear.
I think everyone is hibernating, and if they're not hibernating, they are bundled up a lot as they're out there on a run.
Oh my gosh, that's me. Like with my glasses on, hat on, gloves on, like snood up to my nose. I'm like in disguise in the runs, but mostly on my tread. Let's be quite honest about that. Ted, it has been one heck of a season for New York Roadrunners. There has been a lot of interruptions, which we'll talk about shortly. But first and foremost, I want to hear about your most recent trip to the running. I call it paradise. Some people might call it a Mecca. I don't know. What would you call it? You're the one who's just gotten back from the most incredible trip.
Yes. So, Bex, you're talking about the team's trip to Kenya, where we spent a little bit of time in Nairobi, Eldoret, and Etam. And it was an incredible trip. The team's done a phenomenal job of storytelling through our various channels. So I highly recommend folks to go on and take a look at our various platforms. For those who I have a personal and professional relationship with, I posted something on LinkedIn as well to talk about the experience. But it was amazing. I mean, that's one short word to describe being able to go to the place that has produced the most champions of the TCS New York City Marathon. It is not like, I said this while we were there, these runners are not just leading our races, but they're leading their communities, they're leading their country, and they're front facing as some of the warmest, kindest people in the world. We only interact with our runners on the elite side very quickly. They're in, they're out, they're there on business. And we went and spent quality time with them in their homes, and they were beyond excited about it. But it wasn't just about meeting and connecting with some of our champions. We also spent some quality time with our charity partners, Shoes for Africa, and saw their facility there. They have a beautiful children's hospital that we spent some time with some of the patients, the young people there, family, friends, and the staff, as well as the team that's working so hard in the Turps Angels program, where they're working to raise awareness and end gender-based violence for women, children, and the like. So it was a powerful, powerful trip to be there. I think my only regret is that I did not get a chance to lace up the kicks and go for a run.
You didn't? Oh my, I mean, I would have been so intimidated to even try and step out at my fastest pace. Is probably like their most easy pace. But I know you guys, I was messaging with Sam on your team. Well, he posted a video of some of the men just running together, and I just said to him, like, what a privilege to be able to witness that for real, like to see that motion, that camaraderie, that unity, and like they just look so in sync and perfect. And it's a training run. Like, how?
Yeah. And it was, I mean, it's poetry in motion is basically what it was to watch that. We had the opportunity to see Viola Lagat and Sharon Lakady run together. And it was beautiful. Like, it was conversational pace, like you and I chatting right now. They're moving at a, sub 6, sub 5 minute mile.
Oh my
But
gosh.
it was truly an incredible experience.
Yeah.
It reminded me a lot of my family's home and family's country in Haiti. Was a simpler space, but people take such pride in their home. Vibrant colors, vibrant sounds, so much welcoming, so much arm opening. And it opened up our eyes to see how much our impact as an organization is globally.
Amazing. And we want more of that, and we want more people to know about it and more people to partake in it. So as Ted said, if you are interested in finding out really what happened, check out on the socials, on Ted's and on New York Roadrunners. And from there you'll probably go down a rabbit hole of everybody who works at New York Roadrunners and then be on their Instagrams, which I was all the trip. Well, thank you for sharing that. And honestly, it is super cool to see how the elite runners live their lives. I mean, they live, eat, breathe running, and they do it together in such a beautiful way in each of the communities that you mentioned you went to. And it's just to see what work the charities do to support other up and coming runners, as well as protection for, as you say, the gender violence is just such a brilliant give back to a world that really needs a lot of love right now. So thank you to everybody who supports through New York Roadrunners. You're doing a great job, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. We're representing the community near and far.
All right, listen. Now let's take you out of that sunshine and dry, warm weather and bring you back down to home here in New York City. As I mentioned, Roadrunners has had quite a winter over the past few weeks. I think everybody listening knows that the East Coast has been inundated with pretty rough winter weather. We've had blizzards, we've had bomb cyclones, we've had, I don't know what other snow, what was it, snow thunder we had? I don't know.
I don't know, lions, tigers, bears, oh my, it all came from the sky.
It all came from the sky, and it came and it rained down on us, and it snowed us in, snowed us out, however you want to call it. So it's been a complete 360 change though this past weekend, because previously race cancellations had, for the safety of not just the runners, but the volunteers and the race setup, people who have to be there in freezing cold temperatures, that is just not right for anyone to be out in. This weekend, it's been a turnaround, and there were not one, but 2 races that went off here in New York City. So tell us about this amazing feat.
Yeah, I mean, let's take 2 steps backwards. Yes, 3 canceled events back to back to back. The last time we had this many cancellations was 2020 during COVID.
Yeah.
So in my 27 plus years of event production, to have experienced something like this was unprecedented, to say the least. And again, we were following in line with what was going on citywide. Like, we work in partnership with the Mayor's Office, Special Events, Parks Departments, and the various agencies. And when they put notifications out about it being unsafe for people to be outside, we have to adhere to that. So yes, the safety of our participants, our volunteers, our staff, our partners, the people at large was front of mind with the decisions that were made to cancel those events. We were very, very fortunate to work with Prospect Park Alliance and the team there to be able to squeeze in a little 5K 2 weeks ago. So we had a race at Prospect Park. We had about 1,600 athletes that showed up and ran, which was really cool. And unfortunately, I wasn't there because I was in Kenya. I told the team, please be prepared for a unique level of energy at this event, because people are going to be so happy to be with one another again and see one another again and engage with one another again. Not that it's been months and months and months like it was for COVID, but it had been long enough that many athletes hadn't seen each other since the Joe K 10K. So yes, we ended up having the cancellations. We were able to get a race off the ground last week, and then this weekend we had double event weekends. We had three back-to-back 5K events.
Oh my gosh.
This weekend was awesome, where we had the Al Gordon 5K. First time it was a 5K distance. In the past, it was a 4-miler. In the past, even longer than that, it was a 5-miler. Honoring the great Al Gordon, who's a longtime runner and supporter of road runners, passed away at the age of 107 years old. Took on to running late in his life. He was a strider before striders were striding. So, he was out there doing the good work. So we were there to be able to host that event, which was great energy. And the park was beautiful. The drives were clear. The parklands themselves were completely covered in snow. And watching that sunrise was magnificent. And again, great energy. And then it
Yeah.
followed the next day with the Washington Heights Salsa Blues and Shamrocks 5K. That's a race that we've been producing for over 25 years in this community. And it's a very, very technical course. There's some ups and downs. I don't know if you've ever
Uh-huh.
run this race.
I haven't,
Oh,
no.
you got to get it on
I
your
know.
calendar. So I live in the Heights. It's my neighborhood. I run
Yep.
through many of those streets there. It's a beautiful, beautiful event when you think about some of the sights and sounds in that community, overlooks to the George Washington Bridge. You run past the highest natural point in Manhattan. You run into beautiful Fort Tryon Park, the cloisters, and then you make your way back down to finish on Fort Washington next to J. Hood Park. But that race was amazing. We had some special guest runners that I think we were chatting about earlier that participated, and back-to-back winners as well, which is pretty amazing. So Steph Bruce made her way out and ran the Al Gordon race on Saturday. She won our women's field. We gave her a great little shout out at the start of the race. She posted some great photos there. So she finished in 16:45.
Amazing.
Our non-binary winner for the Al Gordon race was Nicholas Dill with 18:31.
Brilliant.
And then our men's winner was Asim Al-Jouzui, who finished in 14:57, a member of the United Mexican Runners of New York. And then you might hear Asim's name again because he came back. He didn't have he's like, not only am I going to conquer Brooklyn, I'm going to take it uptown.
Right.
And he won the Washington Heights race at 14:46 with a faster pace on a more challenging course. We also want to give a shout out to Zachary Harris from Front Runners, who won our non-binary at 19:17, and Roberta Groner crushing it out there at 16:46 with Central Park Track Club.
Wow. Those are some astonishing times. It really does show that people were ready to get back on the roads and run. And yeah, huge congratulations to Isami for getting both of those wins with a 10-second time difference on, the Al Gordon route wasn't flat necessarily.
No, Prospect Park is not flat. We'll be talking about that in a moment.
Exactly. It is, there is a pretty gnarly hill. And then, as you said, Washington Heights was not at all easy and cruisy. So that is pretty impressive. I'd say he's got a darn good 5K time there. All right.
It's impressive. And listen, they don't call it the Heights for nothing. So you're definitely going to do some climbing. But that's super fast. I'd be remiss if I didn't say that both races we took the time out. I got the time out to actually start both of the events. And I took the time out to honor Jeff Galloway. Jeff Galloway, a true pioneer in running. I think I would call him the very, very first running influencer.
I would. I'd absolutely agree with that.
He was an Olympian who transformed running and really opened it up to the general public. If that sounds somewhat familiar, as far as transforming runners, similar to what we do at New York Road Runners with the transformative power of running, he opened it up with this Galloway method, which is a run-walk method. And many people who were not introduced to this said, I can never run because I cannot run consistently for name that distance. And then the Galloway method came into play, and people were able to run walk, where a lot of folks do that method even still to this day. They'll walk at an aid station, they have their set times, and they are able to continue moving at a solid pace and finish strong. So shouts out to you, Jeff Galloway. Thank you so much for your tremendous work and contributions to the sport of running and the community of running and growing the sport for the general public.
Absolutely concur, and big love to all the Galloway family who are working to continue his amazing legacy. And I'm sure there will be a lot of Magic Mile celebrations in his life, as Magic Mile was his way of getting people to mark how to find your training paces when you feel comfortable to do it, which I always love because it makes it not sound so scary when it's a magic mile, not a time trial or whatever it was. So thank you for saying that, Ted. Yeah, we lost one of the greats in the running world, but his legacy and his method will for sure live on forever.
Absolutely. Every mile, every step.
Yeah. Peloton's most advanced tread yet is here. The new Peloton cross-training series Tread Plus, powered by Peloton IQ. Designed for runners who want top-tier performance, it features premium hardware that makes every run and workout more efficient, effective, and motivating. And it accelerates your personal growth mile after mile.
The rubberized slap belt cushions every single step and creates an energizing running space for each stride. And with strength workouts, you can stack right into your routine. You'll build lower body muscle to support stronger runs. With auto incline adjusting automatically to match instructor cues, your intensity stays exactly where it needs to be, so you can stay in the zone and focus on your workout. Experience our most advanced tread yet at onepeloton.com. Peloton, the official digital fitness partner of New York Roadrunners.
All right, let's work it up to the big one. We've
Yes.
got a pretty, I mean, all races are huge. All races are important, but there are a certain few on the New York Roadrunners calendar that really are standout big production events. And we have one coming up on the horizon. Ted, go for it. What are we talking about?
We are talking about the United Airlines NYC Half Marathon, one of the largest half marathons in North America, back again on March 15th. We're excited to have over close to 30,000 athletes. As I've mentioned before, and will continue to say, this is the springtime equivalent of the marathon.
Oh,
You know,
yes.
so we have pro athletes, we have broadcasts, we have international athletes, we have a huge charity team,
Ugh,
and the masses that'll be out there running as well. So it's going to be a great day.
exactly.
And the cherry on top, and just the cutest cherry on top, is our youth that will be running out there as part of the Times Square Kids Run. So you'll be running
Yes.
past our little people, inspiring them as they inspire you to the finish line.
Oh my gosh. So the United Airlines NYC Half is happening here in New York next Sunday, March 15th, 2026. And we are going to have thousands of runners from all over the world journeying from Prospect Park to Central Park, crossing over the Brooklyn Bridge, running down the FDR, as Ted said, through Times Square as they travel 13.1 miles towards the finish line, the famous finish line at Tavern on the Green. So this is the country's largest half marathon, right? It
Correct.
is literally, and it is second to the TCS New York City Marathon. The New York Roadrunners team spends months planning every inch of every single runner's journey, from the expo to the start line to the family reunion. And so what Ted is here today to talk about mainly is basically every single thing you you need to know, you may want to know, that your best friends may want to know, your parents who might be trying to watch from somewhere else may want to know. It is going to tick every box of the need to want to know list for the 2026 United Airlines NYC Half.
Yes.
Okay? Are you ready to dive in?
I am, it's ready, steady, go here. It's really cool to be able to be a part of the podcast and share these stories about what the runners, what the spectators, what the volunteers, what the community at large is going to be expecting on March 15th, bright and early on Sunday morning, as we have participants from literally all over the world and all over our communities to come out to venture into Brooklyn to take on this beautiful and iconic event. It's one of the two larger half marathons in North America that New York Roadrunners is blessed to be able to produce, this and the RBC Brooklyn Half Marathon in May. I mean, where do we begin, Beck? Shall we start from the start and work our way down? Let's do the
Let's do
participant
that.
journey, as we like to say here.
Yeah, let's start at the start. Let's talk
Yes.
about how the race has grown and evolved over the years and how it has become one of the most premier half marathons in the whole of the United States.
Well, I had the pleasure of chatting with Tom Kelly. Tom has been with the organization for close to 35 years. He's our head of timing and competition management. And I was asking Tom, I was like, Tom, give me the scoop on this event. Many of us have run it, worked it, volunteered at it, participated and engaged in it in some capacity. Give us a quick bit of fun facts about the event. So this would be the 21st running of this event in this capacity. 2006 was the first time that we had this in the park, out the park, downtown finish event with the United Airlines New York City Half Marathon. The event has had so many different iterations over the years, between just races inside the park to a race that exited the park to a race that finished downtown in Lower Manhattan to help revitalize that community there. And now in 2026, we'll be back again to run this incredible event. And we made a couple of changes so folks would be prepared for.
I love it when Ted says that. There's a couple of changes. You just know that if people haven't heard about this, immediately they have just stopped what they're doing. Even if they're running. I know. I hear you, runners. I hear you. You have just slowed your pace down because you're like, you what now? What are we talking about?
Yeah.
Before we get there, let's just talk about the change that you mentioned before. I think it was historically so celebrated around the time of like running down the West Side Highway.
Correct.
It was one of the only races that had that iconic New York City route into it. And then from then it got switched kind of over almost not to the other side of the island, but like halfway across. And now, people don't love change, but the icon status of it running through Times Square just was like amplified so much more. People are like, oh no wonder we've lost the West Side Highway, but you get to run through Times Square. Super, super cool. So that's the changes that were before. So are we looking at something as dramatic, or just are we doing minor changes here?
Minor changes. I think the big surprise that came out of last year's event was when we did not run over the Manhattan Bridge and we ran over the Brooklyn Bridge, and it was a welcomed surprise. I know you said folks don't like change, but change is like Thanos. It's inevitable.
Exactly.
Change is going to happen. So you
how
have
we
to be able to
grow.
learn. Exactly. You have to learn and adapt and adjust to change. And at times you have to welcome change. And we had a very welcomed change with us running over the Brooklyn Bridge.
Which was kind of not shocking in a bad way. I don't mean that rudely, but it was shocking because the weather was terrible last year. It was foggy.
Yeah.
And so you couldn't really even see the incredible views. It didn't matter what bridge you were on in many ways, because the weather was just like a detriment to the beauty. So I love that the feedback was so positive, even though people, it might have been their first time running over a New York bridge and they're like, ooh.
Yeah, and it's we're the only event that has been permitted to run over the Brooklyn Bridge, which add that component to me. And on race day last year, I didn't think it was terrible. It was eerily beautiful.
Yeah.
Now I'm an optimist by nature, so
Yes, you
forgive
are.
me for that, but it was so cool. So I'm in the lead vehicle. I take off at the start and I'm rolling, and I knew it was foggy. So the teams were all taking heightened care to ensure that we had a safe and secure course. And once we got everything off, I hop in the car, I take off on the route, and we're driving it. The first half of the course, I know it like the back of my hand. We'll talk about that for a moment. But that one change on Flatbush Avenue, when we made the left on Tillery and the right onto the Brooklyn Bridge, that was new and different. And that's where you saw the fog. And it was so like, whoa, like it was like eerie. It was something out of a movie. And what you will see, whether you've driven on the Brooklyn Bridge, making your way over to the FDR Drive, or in the case have run or will be running, the course then goes up underneath the Brooklyn Bridge to loop around onto the FDR Drive. And that adds another level of eeriness and beauty to it as you're making your way over. When you're going and you look over to your right and you see the Manhattan Bridge, or in the case of last year, you didn't see the Manhattan Bridge. It was really, really something special there. But I don't want to spoil the course description in a second. But yes, those were some of the things that I think folks walked away from saying, wow, that was one of the most iconic half marathons I've ever run, and I can't wait to run again.
And we have to remember that everybody got a PR last year.
Yes. Brand new course.
Brand new course means you have a PR. So
Exactly.
this year might be where you brush it up or not. But let's take it to the start. So biggest change for 2026 is the new start line. So talk us through that.
Yeah, well, Becs, before I even go there about a big change, again, when we, like, in the magical world of Ted Metellus and the way I process things in the event space, it is the participant journey. You've run your fair share of races. I've run my fair share of races. Where does the journey begin after registration, after you've trained and gotten yourself ready, you have to go and pick up your bib.
Expo, baby.
Yes. So we have a brand new expo and a brand new expo site. So yes, the expo has moved. We are now at the Javits Center at the River Pavilion, which is the same location that we have the TCS New York City Marathon Expo bid pickup. The expo is Thursday, March 12th. Friday, March 13th, and Saturday, March 14th. So that it is going to be at the Javits Center on those days. So Thursday and Friday the hours are 10 to 8. Saturday, the hours are 8 to 6. So you should have received material and information about the new location, time slots, and info on that. Anything and everything you need will be there at the expo. Our staff will be there to answer any questions, material that you can have as far as what you can share with your family and friends for spectating opportunities at home, as well as where you can watch, stream, and experience the race on race day.
Amazing. And you might hear a familiar voice.
Yeah.
If you're not sick of me on the podcast.
Listen,
Okay.
when you're good at something, you got to be careful. You get put in that box,
Everyone just wants to see me with these like kind of Minnie Mouse shrunken ears on at all times. It's fine. It's great. Okay, so we're heading to the Javits Center. I love this. This is almost giving people a precursor to the potential full marathon that they may sign up for in their future if they are thinking of progressing from half to full marathon distance. So I love that we are bringing our half marathon runners into Marathon Expo Center. This is just great excitement and motivation if you need it. I love that. Okay, so more space, more atmosphere, more hours, I'm guessing, too.
Yeah. Just more material, more engagement. I mean, we outgrew the space that we were in before, and we wanted to really elevate the overall event experience. And there's very few spaces in the New York Tri-State area that can accommodate a volume as large as the NYC Half, the United Airlines NYC Half. So making that change to the Javits Center was the next best logical decision. So we're really excited about having new space. It's the River Pavilion is magnificent because it's tons of natural light overlooking the Hudson River there. So it's going to add some really great flair to the experience. So to the runners, always apply the P rule. Prior planning prevents poor performance. So plan accordingly as far as what time you're going to get there, what's going on. There's some great restaurants in the area as well, over at Hudson Yards and what. So hang out, enjoy, and really experience the glory of this new expo.
And stop by Peloton Studios and come and say hi to us all.
Yes.
Buy some Peloton apparel, maybe for race day. I don't know, I'm just putting it out there.
It's a stone's
We're over the
throw away
road
from your office. You can come over and give everybody a wave.
Exactly, right? We'll come and sign shirts and stuff. Throwing all my colleagues here extra work. All right, I'm going to let your brain lead us through because I'm looking at the list of things and I'm like, I don't know which way Ted's brain's going to go onto the next.
We're going to continue on the participant journey. So let's do this dance together. So this is like Becs and Ted's excellent adventure. We're going to go through and run this race together. So after you've picked up your bib and gotten yourself set and you've seen the material and information that you need to know, you're building yourself up for race day. So shall we talk about race day and specifically one small modification that we've made to the start? So this race, and I'm praying in the seat that I'm in as a chief event production officer, no more changes with this event, please and thank you. So for a number of years, the race has started on the southern end of Washington Avenue in Brooklyn. Okay, so just south of the Brooklyn Museum, south of the Brooklyn Botanical Gardens is where the start line was. So it made for a long, narrow corral where we had restrooms and all the facilities that all the participants needed to have. So we were looking very closely at this and saying, okay, how can we make a slight change to this to allow there to be more runner space for folks, more space for folks to warm up and really kind of get engaged and get ready to go. And we didn't have to think too hard because all we did was look at what we did successfully with the RBC Brooklyn Half Marathon.
Right.
So the start line is going to mirror the start line of the RBC Brooklyn Half Marathon on Eastern Parkway. adjacent to the Brooklyn Museum. That's your
Yeah.
landmark. There is where your corrals will be for you to make your way over. You drop your bags on either side. And again, all the material will be given to you as far as which wave you're going. There's 4 waves for the event. So each wave has a particular side on Eastern Parkway that they'll be entering from. They'll drop your bags. And then once you're inside of the secure start area, restrooms, pre-race water, and all types of amazing amenities will be there, including therapy dogs. So I knew that was going to get you.
Can they come to the finish line?
I don't know. We have medals and all kinds of good stuff at the finish line. So
I'd
but you
prefer
can
a
start
dog.
Well, we'll work on that. Let's see if we can get puppies for everybody. Puppies for everyone.
Yeah, I think we
But,
need one in the booth. Can we have a therapy dog whilst we're doing the broadcast? That would be great.
It will make you super mellow, really chill, very zen-like in that
Very
moment
zen,
when you have
very
a puppy at your lap. Yeah. But yes,
I
we have
love
a
that.
number of elements there, and that's cool. Like having those things, and credit to the team, particularly our community programming team, our DES team that works really hard to really think about things like sensory location for our runners, lactation location for our runners, pre-race fluids and resources that are there for our runners, and of course therapy dogs and the like.
Oh my gosh. Oh, it all sounds amazing. I mean, just the dogs. I'll just come start there. Does the new start affect transportation planning for our
No.
runners on the morning?
No.
Nope.
No,
Same.
transportation is the same. You're still taking the trains to the same locations that you've had. Again, shout
Great.
out to the MTA on the services that will be running well on race day, but you should always, always, always take a look and see the train lines that are making your way over to either Grand Army Plaza, Brooklyn Museum, as those landmarks there for your train transportation to that location. So no changes to that at all.
Yeah. And we've seen on Reddit from previous years that runners have asked a lot about how early do I need to arrive? What is a realistic time window, especially with the subway variability? What would you say is the safest arrival window? Obviously, a duration, because everyone's in different corrals.
Yeah, so the safest bet is you want to be there. I always tell folks anywhere between a half hour to 45 minutes prior to the start of your race to allow yourself enough time to get yourself situated. So, it's the United Airlines NYC Half Marathon. Ring a bell. Ted's going to talk about flying. So you would never go to an airport 5 minutes before your flight leaves, because you're going to have to navigate crowds and people showing up and baggage drop and things like that you need.
Yeah.
What if you need to use the restroom? Those things come into play.
Security as well.
Exactly. Security and screening. So all of those things tack on time to your start of your event. Half hour to 45 minutes being a very comfortable amount of time will allow you from going from rushing and hustling to a nice easy pace that will keep your day mellow. So yes, restrooms, pre-race fluids, a stretching warm-up location, announcements and video screens to be there to line the athletes up accordingly, and then you can get yourself off and running on race day.
Amazing. Talk us very quickly through, and this is probably just more for our first timers here, the difference between corral closing time and start time for the corral.
Correct. So again, I'm going to use the airline analogy again. When your flight is departing, there's a window of time to get everybody loaded in, to close and prep for the next group that's there. So what I'll tell you quickly here for folks to know is what time this race is starting on race day. So our programs and our events will be starting at 7 a.m. with our professional wheelchair athletes men's. Women will be following up at 7:02. We'll have our professional women's division at 7:08. We'll have our push room and hand cyclists at 7:15. At 7:20, professional men's open division and wave 1 at 7:20. Wave 2 at 7:45, wave 3 at 8:05, and wave 4 at 8:30. So you want to give yourself ample time to get to those locations there, because once again, bag drop, security, bag drop, facilities, warm up, queue up in your corrals based on your appropriate time. And then they're going to close that up to then start moving the athletes to the start line itself.
Wow. Okay. Perfect. And last quick question on that is, what happens if somebody does arrive to their corral late and it's closed?
Well, unlike an airline where you're stuck now and not able to fly, what will happen is our team on the ground will be able to get you prepped to line up at the next available wave start there. So you'll be able to start with them at that point. So please pay close attention to the staff and the teams that are there to be able to line athletes up accordingly to their start time. If you arrive a little later, they'll be able to instruct you on when you can line up to start with the next available wave.
Perfect. We love all of that. And obviously, if that happens, it is no stress. Just breathe it out.
Everyone is going to run. And like,
everyone's going
Becs,
to run.
here's the thing, Becs, that's really important. While the race may start at 7 a.m., your race starts when you cross that start line. That clock starts at that time.
Exactly.
There. So just be mindful of that when you're out there. Just because the race has started at 7 a.m. doesn't mean that you're now X many minutes behind. When your wave is called and your start begins, when you cross that mat, your race has started.
That's all they need to know. That is what that bib is for.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's talk about course cutoffs and time limits. I know this is a big question that a lot of people have. The nerves and the worry comes over us all when we are towing the line to these races that we've put weeks of preparation into. So we have seen a lot of runners asking, is there a sweep bus? And if so, does it pick people up? How does it work, etc.?
Yes. So we will have a sweep bus on site for folks, and they'll be following behind the last athlete. One of the critical pieces that is really important for folks to know is where this route runs in relation to our other road races and events. Many of it is where there's sidewalks and open roadways, pedestrian path points. This event has one very unique component. There is no pedestrian path point on the FDR drive. Okay, so all participants have to cross the bridge and get onto the bridge at a very specific time to ensure that they can continue along on their race date. So if you give me a second, I'll tell you exactly what that time is.
But that is such a cool thing to know, because there is not that many places in New York City that you can't run, because it's a very pedestrian friendly city. People come here to travel around and walk it and see it. The FDR is one of the most prominent parts of the city. It has one of the most fantastic views that you'll ever see over to Brooklyn, and you cannot walk it. It is only for cars. Most of the time it's bumper to bumper traffic, so you do get to take in the nice view. But it is this one time a year that you get to run on it and be on it on your own 2 feet. And it is very important, as Ted said, that this partnership with the city of New York is a collaborative one, and that is why we need runners to be over the bridge at a certain time so the city can reopen. The FDR is a huge artery of traffic for this city. So what's the time, Ted?
So that is the agreement. You hit it on the head there, Becs. And if you keep talking this talk, we're going to pull you into the events department and you start working alongside us. We have an agreement with the city to ensure that certain sections of the route are open at a particular time. They are based on our first athlete and our last athlete. And yes, our races are walker friendly for folks, moving at anywhere between a 16-minute per mile to 18-minute per mile pace to get them crossed over to the finish line there. So that's a key thing. The other thing too that you noted, which was really key, is sections of the course that are not closed to the public all the time. You mentioned earlier, Times Square is not closed to the public all the time. There's vehicle traffic, there's movement and all type of things. There's 2 times a year that Times Square is closed. Once is for New Year's Eve, and the second time is for the NYC Half, the United Airlines NYC Half. So those are really, really cool components. That's there. Same thing applies for the Brooklyn Bridge and the FDR Drive as it relates to there being a time that bridge is closed to the public and the roadway is closed to the public. All runners need to be to the bridge by 10:20 a.m. All runners need to be to the bridge by 10:20 a.m. Once they've made that point, they'll be able to continue on to the FDR Drive to make their way on the rest of the route. Any athletes that are behind that point along the route will be asked to get on a sweep vehicle to the finish line.
Okay, amazing. So they get hopped onto the vehicle and you do get taken to the finish line. So you can have reunion spots and everything will be as you had planned. But yeah, it is that keeping the city of New York running, haha, and happy as
Yes.
well.
Yes. All information about cutoffs are on our event website. So you can see where the course cutoffs are and the course diversions are there. But 10:20 is the time that you want to focus on there. The start of the last wave, as I mentioned before, will allow everyone to be able to get there safely on the pace that they have. The last wave, again, as I mentioned, wave 4 starts at 8:30 a.m.
Amazing. Great. Okay. Hopefully that has instilled some confidence into some of our listeners out there for that. And last, I would say real housekeeping is baggage and all of that. I mean, I personally am somebody who would advise all runners to bring as minimal stuff as physically possible. Now, I know we've had really topsy-turvy weather. We literally do not know what is happening. One day it is like below freezing, and then the weather people are saying that next week it's going to feel like 80 degrees. It's absurd. We don't understand. One thing I will say, though, as a very experienced runner, is I have a section of my closet, which is my race day donations. And even if I don't have a race planned, I know I'm always going to end up jumping into one at some point. And I have this like folded up section of sweatpants and sweatshirts and beanies and gloves that I just know were going to go to the donations bin. And I just pulled them out, put them aside, and was like, they're my race day donations. So if I could give you all any advice, it would be to bring those layers. Stay as warm as possible before the race starts, knowing full well that you are donating to people who have less and need more, and you're doing a good thing by leaving that there. Ted has already explained that there is fluids and like chill out areas, and there are amenities for you at the start, so you don't need to bring the kitchen sink with you. And hopefully fueling wise, you're not going to be there too long before that you need to have too much extra fuel to sustain you for that race. So if you can manage to condense your race day morning kit to have what you need and remove a run, I say that is key. Obviously, there are exceptions. People have medical needs. They have extra things that they do need to have right at the finish. So let's talk through that baggage check-in, no bag check-in process.
Yes. So unlike the TCS New City Marathon, there is no pre-event baggage requirement here. So if you are planning to have a bag, you'll be dropping your bag based on your assigned wave location on either side of Eastern Parkway. So that's there and set and ready to go. You were mentioning, bringing things, throwaway clothes, things of that nature. We will have teams that will be there to help collect all the clothing that then gets recycled and reused and provided for other people in the community. My recommendation, fly light, fly right. So you want to take as little as you can and what you need based on how you physically feel. For our first time runners, you've been training in weather that's been up and down over these last couple of months. It's been more down than up. This weekend, as you mentioned, here in the Northeast, we're expecting warmer temps for the weekend here. So if you are a warm runner, or if you run warm or you run cool. So base that on what you're going to bring with you. Yes, during the start of the event will be a little cooler because you're standing still and stagnant. But once you start getting moving, you want to shed accordingly based on that. But yes, baggage will be there and available for participants to drop their bags off prior to them starting their waves. And we will transport their baggage, and it'll be waiting for them on Central Park West, adjacent to the finish line area just outside of Central Park on Central Park West. There is where the athletes will be able to get their gear.
Perfect. We love that. I love that. Fly light, fly right. That is. I'm taking that with me. That's gonna be in a class soon. Quoted by Ted. Okay. So we've talked a little bit about the course, but let's just go through the big points, the big sellers, let's say. We've heard a few people speculating that, oh my gosh, is the Brooklyn Bridge going to be crowded? Is it going to be windy? What, like all of the what ifs and maybes, which is fine. We do that. We think about things we can't control because that's the easiest thing to stress about. So let's just talk about that element, the Brooklyn Bridge side of things, being that it's only the second year that it's happening. And then also After that, go straight into that amazing ramp off the bridge and onto what seasoned runners of this race who have run along the FDR a couple of times say is the toughest part, is that like slog along the FDR.
Yeah, I mean, the course, you want to break it up into pieces here, and then we'll run through this quickly for both our advanced runners and our novice runners that are coming out to experience this for the first time. So, first part of the course is you start off on Washington, just south of Eastern Parkway, then we make your way south, making a turn on to Empire, up Flatbush Avenue for an out and back, and then into Prospect Park. Remember earlier we were talking about the climbs in Prospect Park? You are going to be doing a climb going into Prospect Park, exiting out of the park and through Grand Army Plaza. Flatbush Avenue is a climb. So it's a slight climb heading up towards Tillery, then Tillery to the Brooklyn Bridge. Again, a slight climb. So what's interesting and not surprising that we had a course record last year is it is not as high a climb as the Manhattan Bridge. When the Brooklyn Bridge is fairly flat. Okay. There's a chance, of wind and weather. Fun fact, can't control the weather. You just have to be prepared for it as best you can. Exactly. Wind is minimal there, but you are out in the elements, so you don't have wind coming from your left and right more than likely because one side is blocked off because that's where the vehicle traffic is flowing through. Okay, so on that lower section of Brooklyn Bridge. The FDR Drive is your second section of the course there. That's when you have to toughen up. So it's a downhill swoop onto the FDR Drive, and now you're counting the miles, you're counting the kilometers as you're making your way through. It is a beautiful section of town to look over again to your right side, and you see the water of the East River and see the sights and sounds of that neck of the woods there. We do have tons of entertainment on the route, and of course our incredible volunteers and staff that'll be out there as well for you. The next section of the course is when you get off the FDR Drive and make the turn, on 42nd Street to cruise off. That is incredible. 42nd Street is just for you. You're running down there and,
cool.
which is usually very busy thoroughfare with cars and people and everything. And now it's just the pitter patter of feet as they make their way past our little ones that are there on the course for the kids Times Square run. So you'll be running past them. Make that turn onto 7th Avenue. And again, this will be a climb. You'll be climbing up 7th Avenue to enter into the park at Grand Army Plaza there, making the turn around on the east side of the park to then loop around and finish at the finish line on 67th Street in Central Park. So breaking the course down into chunks is very helpful. Know that there are going to be 8 water stations on the course, including a gel station on the route as well.
Great.
We'll have 7 medical stations on the course as well to provide support for athletes, and entertainment posts throughout the route in 10 different locations. That's
almost
not
every
counting,
mile.
Yeah, and exactly. And not to mention the 6 cheer zones that we have out there as well. So there's sights, there's sounds, but there's services as well.
Oh my gosh, we love that. So carry your fuel that you have run with and trained with, and if you do need more, there is that one spot for gels, but hydration throughout. My advice, take hydration at every station. Whether you need it or not, it's better to try it than need it later on. That's
Absolutely.
for sure.
Absolutely. And Becs, definitely, you mentioned it about the weather. Pay attention to the weather. The team here at New York Road Runners will be able to push information out to the athletes to let them know what to expect. If the weather is any extreme in either way, if it's looking to be warmer, how to be prepared for a warmer race. If it's going to be cooler, how to be prepared for a cooler race. So definitely pay attention to that, because then it's on you to know, well, I need those gloves. Am I running with shorts? Am I wearing tights? Like, what do I need to do? And then lastly, one of the things that I highly recommend many runners to do, and more runners are being ecologically responsible by bringing their own hydration with them, because your pace of hydration may vary from the locations of the aid station. Each aid station will have the ability to fill bottles for you if need be, but definitely bringing those components with you. And thank you to our incredible partners at Morton, where we have a Morton gel zone there along the route for folks as well. And there'll be product at the expo that you can pick up prior to race day.
Great. But don't try anything new the day before.
Nothing new. Correct.
All right, our runners have completed their 13.1 miles through the incredible city and on this awesome route. Talk us through the post-race family reunion finish line joy.
Yes, so this is it. You have now completed one of the most iconic events in New York, the United Airlines NYC Half Marathon. Made your way up 7th Avenue, Central Park South, entered in on the park on the east side, made your way loop across 72nd Street, and then finished down by the iconic Tavern on the Green on 67th Street. And then your post-race walk-off begins, where you'll receive your beautiful medal, post-race fluids and amenities, food, drink that you'll need, and you make your way into the southern end of the park where you'll exit out. If all the participants upon exiting out on the southern end of the park will be directed again to make an immediate right turn and then head up where they can exit out of the park on either 62nd Street, 63rd Street. They can exit out, or they'll be receiving their baggage. Baggage will start on Central Park West at 61st Street, and they can exit out there. Family reunion will be along that section as well. So you can meet your loved ones, family, and friends on Central Park West, there on the southern end. Or what I highly recommend, this is a cheat code, ring a bell.
Ooh.
This is what you need to do is right now, I thought about that this morning when I was on my run. Make your brunch plans now.
Yeah,
You
book
know,
it up.
your post-event celebration with family,
Yeah.
friends, teammates, club mates, and the like. Plan that out now. Find a venue or a site that you can have a large group of people, make the arrangements, lock that in, and then have folks meet you there to celebrate this iconic
Yes.
moment. It's also St. Patty's Day weekend, so
Oh.
luck of the Irish to you. Wear some green
Boy, oh
and
boy.
celebrate.
Yes, I love that. That's such a good idea. And I just will add for our first timers, you will not be finishing in the same direction as the TCS New York City Marathon. As Ted said, you're coming in on 72nd and you're coming from
South.
north to south, whereas
Correct.
the TCS New York City Marathon goes from south to north. So if anyone, I know people have superstitions about running through a finish line, etc. So don't worry, there's no bad juju here for you if you're thinking about running the TCS and New York City Marathon in your future.
Yes.
All right, and then just quickly, the final bow here on this gift is the spectators. How can people watch in the city and at home?
Yeah, so we will be on ESPN2, so folks can watch the yes, and see Becs there. You might see me kind of do a quick wave as
Yep,
I keep
I'm
going
sure
there.
we will.
So we'll be streaming there as well, so you can go online and watch the race and be part of this race experience. I don't get to watch the race. I get to be part of the race on race
Yep.
day, but I love watching the event afterwards. And really, I'm paying attention to things and taking note and critiquing and making plans for the following year's event, but also really soaking in on what the beauty of this race is all about, and hopefully inspiring future runners to come out and participate in this event. But yes, check out the app, download it. If you don't have it, it's our New York Roadrunners running app. It's a year-round app that tells you all kinds of great information about the programs and events that New York Roadrunners has, as well as the ability to track loved ones, family, or friends, and check out the event.
Oh, we love that. And of course, if you're in New York City and you are not up to much on that Sunday, step out onto the streets and get that loud voice going. Our runners will appreciate every bit of motivation.
The rule is this: if you're not running, you're cheering. If you're not
Exactly.
running, you are cheering.
Yep. And just also, if you are not running, not cheering, but living in the city and listening to this, there will be road closures. Don't get grumpy about it. The city will reopen after everyone's had a great morning. So join us for the fun.
Yes. Plan accordingly. If you're listening to this in the New York Tri-State area, again, working very closely with our partners in the Mayor's Office of Special Events. They push out notification information. We put information out on Waze and TomTom, so that way your driving ability to get around, to let you know how you can get around the city, around the route there. But yes, we're very conscious of the fact that we are in one of the most populous cities in the world, with one of the largest half marathons in the world happening.
Exactly. And then after the race, Ted, how are our runners encouraged to celebrate when they've had their brunch, reunited with their family and friends? Is there an official after party or activation or anything to know about?
Yes, so we have programs that'll be going on around the city, particularly for those that are traveling in from overseas or outside of the New York Tri-State area. So it's Beyond the Finish Line programs where you can see some of the cultural programs and events. Definitely check out the different programs and events that will be going on in partnership with New York Roadrunners and the United Airlines NYC Half.
Amazing. Anything else you want to add to this year's race?
Yeah, I mean, just in closing, first, a huge thank you to our partners from the city of New York and all the agencies that work very closely with us, the amazing staff and team that do that. The hat says it all. Be the light, be the brightest thing in your community, be the brightest thing in your neighborhood. You are really going to be inspiring folks that's out there. Please, 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 as we stated earlier, the P rule, prior planning prevents poor performance. So please be prepared for what you're going to see. Look at where those aid stations are. Look at the map, study and understand it. It may be foreign if you're not from that area, but we broke down that course for you so you know when the times to climb, when to pace yourself, when to lay that hammer. Go and see our coaches at the coaches area at the Expo. They'll have great information for you, pacer, wristbands. They'll do a course preview and they'll walk you through where the resources are and services as far as Morton Shell, Gatorade product, water, and the like that's out there. And again, biggest thing, Becs, biggest thing. See a volunteer, thank a volunteer.
Please and thank you. Thank you, Ted. That was so thorough as always and so wonderful. I don't think any of our runners will be leaving this episode with a question about the race, other than can't wait to do it again. Where can I sign up for my next New York Roadrunners race?
Yes. Yeah, just the season. The springtime running season is here. Like we said, we had 2 races go off this past weekend. The Tokyo Marathon was on Sunday. So now folks are getting out there and running. The weather's slowly going to be breaking here. So, welcome to spring.
Yay! Amazing. Well, thank you, Ted. And we can't wait to see you out there on Sunday the 15th.
Yes, can't wait. Happy St. Patrick's to everybody. Be safe out there. Have a great time. Becs, thank you so much. Can't wait to see you and give you a big hug.
Yes.
We have to talk about what your running season is going to be. What are you running this year? What goals you may have? I can share with you. I'm getting ready to run my 50th half marathon this month.
Gosh.
Yeah, I'll be going to Berlin. I'm going to international, run my first international race, which would be my 50th half marathon. So send me some good vibes to everybody that's running on the 15th.
Oh, I will. Oh my gosh. We have so much to talk about.
Yes, for sure. But thank you so very much for having me on and sharing what we do in planning and preparation for the United Airlines NYC Half Marathon. Can't wait to see everyone out there.
New York Roadrunners is a nonprofit organization with a vision to build healthier lives and stronger communities through the transformative power of running. The support of members and donors like you helps us achieve our mission to transform the health and well-being of our communities through inclusive and accessible running experiences, empowering all to achieve their potential. Learn more and contribute at nyrr.org/donate.
Well, that does it for another episode of Set the Pace. Thank you so much to my guest host today, Ted Metellus, and his incredibly thorough breakdown of the United Airlines NYC Half. As Ted said, there are plenty of ways to keep finding out the information if you need more, but go on the weekend of the race to the expo, talk to the people, take it all in, go and meet the coaches, and most of all, have the most incredible race when you get there. Team, if you like this episode, please do go ahead, subscribe, rate, or leave a comment for the show on whatever platform you're listening on. This not only helps us, but it does help others find out about the show too. Stay safe out there, and we will catch you on the next episode.